Two ancient humans stand face to face beside a fire, and something has gone wrong between them. Maybe one took more than his share of the meat. Maybe one stood too close to the other's mate. Maybe an old insult has finally boiled over. Whatever it is, the anger is real, the tension is rising, and both of them want the same thing: to win this. But here is the strange part. Neither of them can say a single word. There is no shouting match because there are no words to shout. No one can explain their side, demand an apology, or talk it out. And yet, a disagreement is happening, a real one, with real stakes, in complete silence. So how did ancient humans argue before language existed? And how did they settle anything at all without the one tool we rely on most? The answer reveals something surprising, because long before humans could speak, they had already built an entire silent system for fighting, backing down, and making peace. And most of that system is still inside you right now. To understand it, you first have to let go of a modern assumption. We think of an argument as an exchange of words. He said this, she said that. But words are recent. For almost the entire history of our species, conflict had to be handled without them. And the body, it turns out, is extremely good at conflict. Think about what an argument actually is underneath the words. It is two individuals signaling, I am upset, I want something to change, and I am willing to push for it. None of that requires language. All of it can be broadcast through the body alone. And the first weapon in that silent argument was the face. The human face is one of the most expressive surfaces in the entire animal kingdom. Dozens of tiny muscles pull it into shapes that other humans read instantly, without thinking. A narrowing of the eyes, a tightening of the jaw, lowered eyebrows pulled together, bared teeth. These are not random. They are signals, and they are ancient. Look closely at an angry human face today, and you are looking at a display older than words. The furrowed brow protects the eyes and signals focus and threat. The bared teeth are a leftover from a time when teeth were weapons, a reminder to the other person of what a mouth can do. Nostrils flare to pull in more air for a body preparing to fight. None of this has to be taught. A child does it. A person born blind who has never seen another angry face still makes the exact same one. It comes from below language, from a layer of the mind far older than speech. So the first move in an ancient argument was written across the face, and both sides could read it perfectly. But the face was only the beginning, because the whole body joined in. When two ancient humans clashed, their bodies inflated. This is one of the oldest tricks in the animal kingdom, and humans never lost it. Chests puff out, shoulders roll back and spread wide, arms lift away from the body. The person rises to their full height, sometimes onto the balls of their feet. Every part of this display says the same thing without a single word. I am bigger than you think, and fighting me is not worth it. You have felt this yourself. When you are furious, you do not shrink. You expand. Your body straightens, your chest opens, your hands come up. That is not a decision. That is an ancient program running exactly as it always has, preparing you to look as large and dangerous as possible, so that maybe, just maybe, the fight never has to happen at all. Because that was the entire point. This is the part people misunderstand about conflict. The goal of all this display was almost never to actually fight. A real fight was a disaster for everyone. In a small band where every person mattered, two members injuring or killing each other was a catastrophe. The group could lose a hunter, a mother, a pair of skilled hands the whole community depended on. Violence was expensive, and evolution hates waste. So the silent argument existed precisely to avoid the real one. All the puffing and glaring and looming was a way of measuring each other without bloodshed. Who is bigger? Who is more confident? Who is more willing to take this all the way? If one person clearly outmatched the other, the weaker one could read it in an instant and back down before a single blow landed. The display did the fighting, so the bodies didn't have to, and backing down had its own silent language. Just as the body has ancient ways to threaten, it has equally ancient ways to surrender. The shoulders drop, the head lowers, the person makes themselves smaller, curls inward, breaks eye contact, and looks away or down. Some crouch, some bow, some simply go still and quiet and shrink. These gestures appear across cultures everywhere on Earth because they are not cultural. They are the opposite of the threat display, and they carry a clear message the whole group can read. I yield. You win. Please stop. And crucially, the one who submitted usually was not harmed, because the anger of the other had already been satisfied by the surrender itself. The conflict was resolved, and both walked away alive. This is the quiet genius of the silent argument. It had a way to escalate, and it had a way to end. A threat and a truce, both written in the body. But there was another force at work, and it was the most powerful one of all. The group was always watching. An ancient argument almost never happened in private. It happened in front of everyone, around the fire, in the middle of the band. And that audience changed everything, because the others were not neutral. They had opinions, they had loyalties, and they had the power to step in. If one person was clearly bullying another, others might rise, spread their own bodies, and stand beside the weaker one. Suddenly, the bully was not facing one opponent, but 5. If someone was being unfair, the group could turn its back, exclude them, refuse to share. And in a world where survival depended completely on belonging, being pushed to the edge of the group was one of the most terrifying outcomes imaginable. So the silent argument was never really between two people. It was a performance in front of a jury. Each side was signaling not just to their opponent, but to everyone watching, trying to win the crowd, to be seen as the reasonable one, the wronged one, the one who deserved support. Reputation was survival, and every silent conflict was also a bid to protect it. This is why humans became so exquisitely tuned to fairness and to shame. A person who lost the group's respect lost everything. And the feeling we now call embarrassment, that hot, sinking need to hide when everyone is looking, is an ancient survival signal. It once told our ancestors, "You are losing the crowd. Correct course before it is too late." And then there was touch, the oldest peace treaty of all. After the tension broke, after one side yielded, the group had to come back together. And the tool for that was physical contact, a hand placed on a shoulder, grooming, sitting close, sharing food from the same kill. These acts rebuilt trust that no word could have rebuilt, because for most of our history, there were no words to use. Our closest relatives still do exactly this. After a conflict, chimpanzees and bonobos reach out, touch, embrace, and groom each other to repair the bond. Tension drops. The relationship heals. They have no language at all, and yet they resolve their conflicts and return to peace, using the very same silent tools our ancestors relied on. So picture the whole thing now, from start to finish. Two ancient humans clash. Their faces harden into masks of anger that everyone can read. Their bodies swell, rising and spreading, each measuring the other. The group gathers, watching, taking sides, ready to intervene. The tension climbs to its peak, and then one of them reads the situation, sees the other's strength, feels the crowd shifting, and makes himself smaller. He lowers his head. He looks away. He yields. The fight never happens. Moments later, a hand rests on his shoulder. The band settles. The fire burns on. And a disagreement as real as any we have today has been fought and finished without a single word ever being spoken. We tell ourselves that language is what lets us resolve conflict, that talking it out is the civilized way. But underneath every argument you have ever had, the old silent system is still running. Your jaw still tightens, your body still squares up, your face still hardens before you have chosen a single word. And when you finally make peace, you still reach for a hand, a hug, a shared meal, exactly as your ancestors did around a fire 100,000 years ago. Words gave us new ways to fight, but they never replaced the first ones. Long before we could argue with language, we could already argue with everything else. And in the heat of real anger, when the words run out, we still do.